Welcome back to another Saturday live stream here on YouTube now. Welcome, Danny. Welcome, Randall. How are you guys this morning?
Yo, I am
Yo,
good.
yo.
Danny is muted.
Danny's muted.
My bad, sorry.
Oh, man.
I was trying to figure things out over here.
Starting off nice. How are you guys? How's
Uh,
your week been? If you can't tell, I'm a little bit under the weather right now, but I'll
Yeah,
survive.
you sound funny.
I thought you were
I'm
just
just,
going for the whole Batman thing.
yeah.
I'm Batman.
I'm
Do you know what's
Batman.
funny how when they started doing that, and now every movie they do with those
I'm
things, they all have to
Batman.
do that. It's like,
And his voice gets deeper every
and you
time.
can't understand
I
it.
mean,
Like
at some
now you're
point,
just
it's
like,
just going to be like,
blah, 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 blah.
at some point, you're just not going to be able to hear him at all.
No, it's just gonna be like it's just
I'm
bass.
Batman.
I'm Batman. All
Oh,
right.
man.
Let's do
Well,
that for 30 minutes and we'll call it.
yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
I'm Batman. Now you go. All right. Now, we should actually talk, I think, about something coding related. Today, we have a pretty interesting topic. I mean, we've been hearing a lot about vibe coding and cursor AI and all these other tools like Manus and whatever else is
Athlete
out.
code.
What is it? Oh, Fleet code.
Athlete
Yeah,
code.
that's a great
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And so I
Wait.
thought it was appropriate to discuss, like, is it still worth it to become a developer in 2025? Are we going in the right direction, or should we just go work at McDonald's?
You know, I actually like this topic though, because I think this happens a lot, and it's happened like a lot over time, I think, when, society change, industries change, and jobs change. But like, it also sucks when you're in it though, because you don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to know. Like, is like the whole field all of a sudden gonna shift and there'll be nothing for me to do? Or like, I get the fear because like it takes a lot to learn this, and so does it
Yeah.
make
I want
sense,
to
right?
I want to share what I just thought of when you asked that question right now. Is,
Okay.
like back in the day, people rode horses, okay? And
Yeah.
then the Model T came out. You could get it in any color you wanted as long as that's black.
Yeah.
And and so
Yes.
that was pretty cool. But it's it's almost like we have that type of evolution that's happened where like before you were searching stuff on Google and now
Yeah.
literally you just think stuff and AI does it for you.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a completely different thing. And it would almost be saying, well, it's not worth it. The Model T's out. Why develop any cars from here? It's
Yeah.
almost like the same thing as like, why become a developer now? It's
I think you
cursor. It's
make a
done.
great point there. That is, because I can imagine, like, at the time that the Model T came out, people were like, oh my God, this is revolutionary. Nobody's ever going to make a better car than this. I mean, I know for a while people sort of just resisted the idea of cars too, because they were like, they're dangerous and and
Well, it was new too, the
yeah,
infrastructure and stuff wasn't quite there. It's like their laws. Yeah.
yeah.
Cars don't kill people. People kill people.
People driving cars kill people. Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's a really good point. Is like, is it worth it? Is there going to be a need for developers, or is AI just going to be the next Model
Well,
T?
maybe
And
maybe before we even get into that, some people might be asking, why are we talking about this right now? Because I thought being a developer was pretty good. You could make six figures and
yeah,
whatever. So why right now are we actually talking about, is it worth learning to code right now?
I don't
Because
know. Why
AI's
And
not?
gotten
I'll
better.
start.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll start because AI's just gotten better. It has gotten better. Like I remember when,
Yeah.
like when we first started learning, it wasn't even an option yet. And when it came out, it wasn't really like when the first ChatGPT was released, it wasn't that good for coding. It was good for
And it
writing
was
and stuff.
wrong all the
Yeah,
time.
it was
It was
terrible.
wrong
Like
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, it was. And then it's got progressively, but there's been like I feel like in the last 6 months there's been leaps in
Oh
its
yeah.
ability to provide good, solid, well-written code, especially like not just boilerplate too, but help you solve problems, set up projects, plan projects and stuff. And then, we all started using Cursor a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
which is built on top of VS Code, and that is just proven how powerful it is, right? Because it's right in your development environment. It has the context of all your code, and it provides really good responses. So you can literally code without typing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally as soon as I started using Cursor, I updated my GitHub profile, 50% full stack vibe coder.
Perfect.
Nice.
It's amazing. What's the other 50%? Cybersecurity expert?
Well, no, just 50% of full stack. I only do front end.
Don't they call that half stack? Isn't that how that works?
Hashtag vibe coder.
No, it's semantics.
Yeah,
Potato,
yeah.
potato.
Really. It is.
100% half of the time. Uh,
Sex Panther.
I remember watching. I think it was one of the first like OpenAI keynote speeches when ChatGPT. I think it was like when like maybe 3.5 came out or something like that, and they introduced like custom GPTs and stuff. And I remember thinking in my head at that moment, like, wow, this is going to change a lot because all of these people I'm watching here are developers, right? They're all like at the keynotes, it's all developers, and they're not looking at this like, oh man, I can't wait to create easy blog posts. They were looking at it like, what can I build this into that's going to make me a millionaire or whatever? And I remember like literally thinking that in that moment, and that I think has been what we're
Wasn't that back when
seeing.
ChatGPT was about research and stuff and not
Yeah,
about
it
money?
was. Yeah, exactly. It was not about making as much money off
Back
of
when it
it.
was open.
Yeah.
And then Microsoft was like, look, we own over 70%
They need
of
to
this.
change
So
it to like closed AI now.
Closed
not
AI.
OpenAI.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think that has a lot to do with some of the advancement that we've seen recently, because it's not really that, like, it seems from the outside, at least this is my perspective, that ChatGPT has, or all these models really have improved so much, and they certainly have, but I think it's more about the ability to integrate them into things now is so much easier and more powerful than it was back then.
Well,
Because when we started using it, you had to do, there wasn't even an SDK for ChatGPT at that point. So you're doing a lot of like integrations manually. Now there's so much support for different
you
models.
couldn't even
different types of
upload
prompts.
files, and you
Yeah.
were limited in how many characters your prompt could be. I mean, like
Yeah.
now it's like unlimited almost. And
Yeah.
and the other thing that I think really changed it was like with Cursor is having the full context of your entire code, your
Right.
project.
Exactly.
It changes everything because it has the ability then to look at everything
Yeah.
or at specific files and to really make better, I think, decisions in how it's assisting you. And I think that's where it's really changed things. But it
Yeah.
is interesting because, now there's all these people you see online, like, coding stuff. They have no idea what they're doing, but it runs.
Yeah.
And it's
Exactly.
funny because I think there's going to open up a whole new set of dangers now moving
Well,
forward.
and I think that's part of our conversation. Before we get into it, do either of you guys have the chat open by any chance? Because I don't have it open. I'm
I
just
do.
curious.
I'm not seeing any.
Chris and Christian said
they're
hi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey guys. I just wanted to
Yeah.
see, like, you know, is everyone else using AI? Are you guys using Cursor? And how have you used it? Right? How has it benefited you at this point?
You know, I did want
Mhm.
to say one thing too about,
Yeah.
I think it is hard because I know like when you're learning too, I think AI too it does feel like a double-edged sword when you're learning too. Because it's
Yes.
like it can feel like such a cheat when you don't know what you're doing. And you can lean on it way too much and really
Yeah.
never learn anything. And I think that
Yeah.
is the biggest danger right now is a lot of people that are just starting out are never going to learn how to actually code
Yeah. Well,
because they're
that's
going
what
to
we
get
call vibe coding.
well, exactly, right? And I
Right?
think this is the problem though, right? Because like
Yeah.
if you already know how to code, it can be hugely beneficial, speed up things, make things easier. But even then you can rely on it too much, I think.
Yeah.
So there is a danger there, I think, in making us because it's so good at remembering everything and making us to the point where we literally don't take the time to remember anything or learn anything. And that
Yeah.
can be a problem. On the other hand, though, I think it's like, look, if you like tech and you like this, you want to get into this, you also have to kind of be willing to adopt these technologies because they exist. They're not going away.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
go
I
ahead,
think it's
Randall.
going to change the landscape. And I'll just in the comments, Anthony says he uses it. Chris says digging in the cursor.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but I think it's going to change the landscape because Fireship just made this video yesterday about some dude from Colombia made a
Yeah.
program called F Leet Code, and it's not just F; it's the full word. Leak code. And basically what it is for a lot of these FANG companies, the interview process to make it cheap for them and to just dig through all the best talent, they just make you do a whole bunch of stuff from leak code. So
Yeah.
like essentially you need to
That's
do
all
that.
it is. Yeah.
And so this dude wrote a program that's basically like an invisible AI screen chatbot screen on your computer that can't be seen in Zoom meetings, and it moves around your screen so it looks like you're looking at different stuff. And basically, it uses real-time
That's
AI.
so good that it moves too.
That's awesome.
Dude, it's
I
brilliant. Yeah,
didn't think about that.
and it uses real-time AI to like take screenshots and stuff
An answer,
and
yeah.
give you the answer in a step-by-step process as if you were
So you
solving
can
it.
explain it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is the other funny
And
thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Let me
and
cut you off.
so he developed this and then he used it and he got job offers from Amazon, from Meta,
Yeah.
and then he basically exposed them and he said like this is my program doing that and Amazon got him kicked out of Colombia.
Yeah. Which
Yeah,
is
it's
Jesus.
which is
crazy.
so sad. And if
Ridiculous.
anyone's
Yeah.
watching this and you're considering going to Colombia, don't. Because that's
Yeah.
like really, I mean, that's like you're basically taking somebody who's an innovator, and granted, like if anything, you're probably helping him, honestly, by kicking
Yeah.
him out because you're making it a story. But really, like that's somebody who's finding problems that need to be solved and fixing them, right?
Well, not to mention too, like the leak code stuff too. It's like the funny thing about that is people do these and they just end up memorizing all that stuff so that they can
Right.
do well in the interviews, but it's not real problems that you
And
ever solve.
well, and that's
They're
the funny
that's
thing
the funny
too,
thing.
is you're basically filtering for people who can't code because they're
Yeah.
just doing leak code problems and they don't actually like build. I mean, I'm not I'm overgeneralizing here, but like if that's what you're optimizing for is people who can do leak code problems, then you're going to find people who just sit all day and do leak code problems. And the issue with that is that most leak code problems developers won't see probably ever in their
Ever.
career, right?
Yeah, because they're
At
not
least not
problems
on
you
a
run
daily
into.
basis. Yeah.
And they're the kind of problems too that if you saw in the real world, like in a real use case, you'd want to solve it in a practical way relative to the actual situation or context
You'd
of the
prompt
project.
Yeah,
ChatGPT how to
that's what I
Yeah,
was
you
solve
go,
gonna
it.
say.
listen,
Like
guy. Yeah.
he's literally like doing what you would do, right? Now, granted, like I think this is an interesting thing too, right? Is that I feel like a lot of companies, whether Fang or other tech companies, are going to sort of shy away from AI if they can because they don't want their code base shared, right? But I think that actually puts them at a disadvantage because if you're saying to your employees, like, you're not allowed to use AI or you can't share our code base with AI, uh, security makes sense. But if there's another team who's building a similar product and they're able to use AI, like they're going to be first to market. And in tech, that matters a lot more than having a great product, right? Having that first mover advantage is huge. So I think a lot of companies right now, because of like fear and unknowns, are shying away from AI to some extent. And that's going to hurt them in the future.
Yeah.
And there are also some of these other companies. So like I'm doing this AI red teaming thing now, and there are some companies they call them CBRNE, so CBRNE, and that
Yeah.
stands for like chemical, biological, radiological,
Mm,
nuclear, and explosives.
yeah.
And so these are like
Where you want
things
to be.
where when you jailbreak AI, you can get it to essentially expose these things. So you could
Yeah.
say like build me a this or tell me how to do a that. I don't want to say it on here because it'll probably
Yes.
get our YouTube video, whatever. But and so essentially, like a lot of those companies, especially those companies, they don't want to have any integration with AI because it's super dangerous. Because even
Yeah.
though AI could be really helpful for the research team,
Yeah.
it can also be something where they could
Do,
expose trade secrets and let somebody build something they shouldn't be building.
do you know what's funny?
Yeah.
Actually, I was just
Interesting.
talking this morning. I was actually just talking to Ann about this. That I was reading this thing. So these researchers at I forget what university it was, but they basically research biomedical stuff, right? So like new medicines and stuff. And they created an AI program, and basically what it was doing was
I've
it
seen
was
this.
looking at all the different combinations, trying to figure out new possible medications, right? And what it might
Yeah.
solve. Awesome. Came up with tons of stuff that was like viable that they were going to then go with. And then somebody asked them like, "Well, could you use that for poisons?" And the guy was like, I never thought of that. And then they tried it
I
and it
guess
came up with like all these like horrible things
toxins.
that
Yeah.
nobody's ever made up. And they were like, oh my God, like we need to, but that's just the
Yeah.
truth of it, right? Is that it's always two sides. You
Well,
can use it
yeah,
for,
exactly. I mean, you think
really good
about
stuff and
the advent of nuclear technology, and that's sort of exactly the same thing. Like, I watched a really good video.
war games anyone could have said. Yeah.
I watched a really good video recently by Veritasium, who's like a pretty famous science YouTuber, and he was talking about, I think it was a similar thing that you were talking about, Danny, where they were using AI to basically, if you look in like biomedical, they have all these like proteins,
Oh,
which
protein folding.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
basically protein folding. So they don't. It's very hard to determine how proteins will fold just based on their chemical structure for humans, right? Because it's a very complex thing. It has to do with like how each atom in the
And
actual
there's a
protein
ton of them.
interacts. Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
like thousands of them. So one of the coolest things was they basically like trained AI on protein folding, and they found, you know, all of these new medications and antibiotics and things like that as a result of that, because they can see how proteins fold and how they interact. And so I think there is so much power in this, but like you said in the
Oh, dude,
beginning, it's a double-edged sword, even for whether it's learning to code or it's really anything that you're using AI for. It's a double-edged sword. And to bring it all back a little bit, I think, you know, we're trying to put these like guardrails on AI all the time, right? And that's what cybersecurity like researchers are doing, is trying to break those guardrails. And I think what we're going to realize over time is that the only like viable guardrails for AI are humans. Right? I think
yeah,
at
it's always
some
the
point
case.
we have to just like, that's going to just be a reality, is like you're always going to be able to hack AI. Like I don't think there's ever going to be a point where somebody can't exploit it in some way. And so the only way we have the ability to continue using this powerful technology in a way that's meaningful is, I think you need a human element, right? And that means a lot for us as developers. Go ahead,
Well,
Danny,
you
what
know,
were you gonna
it's
say?
similar to like, when you remember like, I mean, because we all remember this, but like in the late 90s and stuff when the internet was like going strong, right? And like there was so much fear about it, because people
Dude,
were
you
Pretty
remember
sure
the
afraid.
it's
year
still going
'Well, no,
2000,
strong
how
no,
they
I
today.
mean, but
thought
like
the
I'm just
world?
saying when it was just starting out and then
Oh,
started to
okay.
like really build, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
whole
And
internet thing, that died out.
yeah, it doesn't
But
exist anymore. But no, I mean
no,
like
but you
what I'm
remember
saying,
the Y2K bug? They thought that
yeah,
like the world was going
Yeah.
to shut down.
yeah. I
Yeah.
remember I went to a Y2K party. It was hilarious. But
That's
But
awesome.
anyway, people were terrified because like there were like information's out everywhere. There's no gonna be no copyright or anything, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But the reality was is that like those people that were voicing that, it was already too late.
Yeah.
And the same with it, like this is already in they've already
Oh,
put it
yeah.
in so many things. They're already, they're working,
What?
rushing to make it better. And I think you have to just like, realize that these things already exist. So
Yeah.
either if you want to get into this industry, adopting it's going to be unnecessary, but you also have to, realize the limitations and the harms that can come from that, but also the benefits.
Yeah. I have a question for you guys. So, if you were just getting into software development right now, what fields or like sort of niches within the industry do you think have the best potential, and which ones do you think don't, right? Like which ones do AI sort of take over completely, and which do you think, need a lot of guardrails or need a lot of help?
I would say I think AI like if you're an individual trying to get into this, I think AI is crazy powerful for freelancers.
Yeah.
One,
Oh my
because
God. Yeah.
oh my God, you can build so much faster. Like
Yeah.
I just redid a project in 3 days that
Yeah.
took me like weeks
Yeah.
originally to put together. So,
So
you can do
crazy.
it so much faster. And I think you're always going to need human beings though for design, for coming
Yeah.
up with the idea, for finding somebody who needs it. There's always going to be this side of it. And I think so there's that aspect. I think getting into like AI, I mean, if you're interested in applications of it, figuring out new ways to use AI, new agents, things like that, there's going to be tons of opportunities there,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of niche applications where you could build agents to do all kinds of stuff and it could be hugely profitable. So that's just two.
Yeah. What about you, Randall?
I would agree with Danny. I think that like honestly, I think that vibe coding is an excellent way to get started in development
Yeah.
because you just basically like now you can just have an idea for a program and vibe code it. And like
Yeah.
literally, and then once you've built it, you can be like you can ask the AI like explain this to me why it works starting from
Yeah.
ground principles so I can learn this. So like I think it's an exceptional way to learn. But also for anyone who's interested in cybersecurity, dude, AI
Yeah.
cybersecurity is like it's 2 years old
Yeah.
max.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing. So like I did this AI red teaming course because it's literally all of the world's experts.
Yeah.
They've only ever had one like worldwide hacking competition for AI last year. The
Wow.
second one is happening this coming month. So like if cybersecurity, particularly AI cybersecurity, is something that you're interested in, it literally is like getting in at the ground floor because
Now
the
you're
best
making
in the
me want
world.
to be a cybersecurity expert.
Well, no, but I
Well,
think
you
you're
can,
making a good point though,
but
right?
here's the
Is
thing. So
getting in
yeah,
early. Yeah.
yeah. So
Sorry.
here's the thing. Like one of the reasons that I wanted to do this course is because there's this dude Pliny the Prompter,
Mhm.
and he he's literally
Wait,
every
that's his
time.
birth name?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. His grandfather was Pliny the Elder, and then his father is Pliny the Younger, and he's Pliny the Prompter. And yeah,
Wow.
and so yeah, so but anyways, he's legit like the best uh prompt hacker in the world.
Yeah,
And anytime they release a new model, he jailbreaks it like instantaneously.
that's
And
crazy.
jailbreaking it just means that you can make it do stuff it's not supposed to. You can
Yeah.
make it do any of the stuff. And so, but like one of the reasons I did this course is because he was giving a guest speaking engagement in this course. And so I
Nice.
watched it and he was saying, you know, like I got into this about a year ago. Like I just thought it was really interesting and I just immersed myself in it. And
Now
here I
he's the
am.
number one dude.
That just blew my mind.
Yeah.
In 1 year, you can
Yeah.
become the best in your field.
Yeah,
Because if
it's
you want to do
wild.
traditional cybersecurity, there's like 20 plus years of history that you
Yeah.
have to learn and all these legacy systems and everything like that. But AI, you can be the best in your field in 1 year. That's like insane.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
thing
that's
that I
pretty
think people
wild.
forget is new technologies. Yes, they're gonna. We've already seen like junior developers and stuff like probably are not gonna have as many positions as they used to. You have to kind of make your
Yeah.
own way a little bit first. So stuff will change, but it also creates a lot of new opportunities that you just have to see to take advantage of, like that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
amazing, right? The guy now he's like the number one dude in the world, and it's like he spent a year just messing around with AI, basically.
Dude, and
Yeah.
like, and these guys can legit name their salary. Like
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
anything these companies will pay them. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean that makes a lot of sense. I think I agree with both you guys in that, you know, that some of the best uses are definitely cybersecurity and freelance, right? Because freelance, I mean, up until recently, it's kind of hard to do freelance work on your own unless you're using like a website builder. But now, you know, as long
Yeah,
as you're
custom
on,
projects, man. Like,
yeah, like you can build stuff really quick. Now, I will say this is I think it's one of the best things for new developers. I think, you know, people underestimate how much of an advantage you have now, right? Everyone else has 20 years of experience on you, but they had to grind through that to get where they are. Nowadays, like what you're saying, you know, by far one of the best ways, and this is like, I don't have to like make claim to this. Like this is well known. The best way to learn to code is to build. Like
yeah.
there is no like question about that, right? And so what a lot of people that we've seen, especially like, you know, aspiring developers get stuck in is tutorial hell because they're just watching how to do this, how to do this, how to do this, and they never ever get their fingers on the keyboard, right? And so what I think, you know, granted, if you're vibe coding, you're probably not touching the keyboard either, but you know,
If you're doing it right.
yeah, if you're doing it right,
Yeah. You
but
have on dictation and you're not doing
yeah,
anything.
but I think it gives you such an advantage because you can now just build a bunch of things, and that is the fastest way for you to learn. Now, it is a
Okay.
double-edged sword, though, right? You
Can I
have to
interject
get,
real quick though?
yeah, yeah.
One
Go
thing.
ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say one of the things I like about it too is like, dude, when I used to like say want to use a new package for something,
Yeah,
like we were talking about browser use for Python or like
yeah,
Puppeteer or something. I used to, used to go to documentation like, oh, dude, it's so much faster now to adopt new technologies because one, I know how the codes, I understand the code. So I can
yeah,
use AI to get started. And then once I see what it does, I can understand what's going on and then I can start using, figure out how
yeah,
to use it way faster. Like it's so nice. So
yeah.
yeah, there is that side too.
Totally. And I think you make a good point too. And there's two things that like you just made me think of is one is AI opens up like all these new attack surfaces, right? Like just the idea of browser use, right? Browser use basically connects your browser, native browser, to AI. And it's pretty freaking powerful. In like under 10 lines of code, you can basically set it up where you can type in a text prompt and just let an agent run on it. And what's
Yeah.
like, what that makes me think of is like how, you know, if you can jailbreak that and then just have an agent run like on the internet on your browser, that's scary. Go ahead, Randall. What are you going to say?
Well, you said it opens up a whole bunch of new attack surfaces,
Yeah,
and I mean, that's so true because in classical cybersecurity, Verizon does this thing called DBIR, the Data
yeah,
Breach Incident Report, every year, and I think it's somewhere around like 70% of cyber uh, breaches have a human element. So
yeah,
they call it social engineering. So
yep,
basically, because people generally are good and want to help other people, and
yeah,
they're generally trusting. And so bad people use that against them.
yeah,
And this is the thing, like AI is essentially enabling you to socially engineer computers
yeah,
because
Yeah.
all of a
yeah,
sudden you can say to this AI, you can say like, this is really important. My grade depends on it. My
yeah.
teacher said I have to
And
do this or else
and
I
what's
won't pass. And the AI will be like, oh yeah, I get, geez, yeah, let me help you do that.
yeah, and
Because
it's
they're meant to be helpful, right? That's the
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
trained to help.
they're like trained to be like a human, which is kind of
Mhm.
crazy. The second thing I was going to say there was I think we're at the point where, there for a long time in software development, there was this huge focus on things like leak code and understanding algorithms and not patterns, like data structures, algorithms, and just syntax in general, right? Like memorizing syntax. And we've seen
Because
that in the group.
there wasn't easy access, right? So you had
Yeah.
to. I mean, that makes sense, like you need to know all the functions and methods and stuff that you were available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've seen this in the group. We've had some comments where people are like, I'm stuck learning CSS. And it's like, we've said this, we're like, you don't need to do that. Like there's no real benefit to learning every CSS property out there. It's great if you're a front end developer and that's all you do all day and you write in, vanilla CSS, but you can look that stuff up too. But now it's almost completely unnecessary because you can just say what you want to happen and AI will make it happen. So I think what's really important is if you are new in software development or aspiring developer, your focus should be shifting a little bit now towards understanding the bigger like building blocks of web technologies or whatever software technologies you're working on and understanding how they work together and how to keep them secure because again, that's going to be huge.
Well, the larger concepts, right?
Yeah.
Understanding like the principles of design or understanding how these pieces fit
Yeah.
together to make SaaS and how to scale up and what actually you can do because once you know that you can do it. I mean,
Right.
you have the tools already. Like it's insane. So yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I think that's a good point.
essentially you're moving from becoming from a programmer to a project manager,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where before you were writing code, but nowadays AI can do
Well,
that.
you know what's
So
fun?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what's funny. When I did that assessment thing, that all I could think was I was like, man, this feels so antiquated.
Yeah.
Like I feel
Well,
like I'm in college
I
taking a test for something
yeah.
that like is totally unnecessary because I have the book, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like I
It's
could just look it up. Like
it's
it's kind of
interesting
funny.
to me because, you know, this will force companies to actually reevaluate how they hire people, right? And that's
Yeah.
that's how it should be, right? Advances in technology should affect things like that as well. Like I can there's got to be something that's going to shift because if any junior developer can go to an Amazon interview and ace it every time, they're going to get to the point where they're like, okay, now we have 1,000 candidates again, and then they're going to
Yeah.
start hiring them and then be like, oh shit, none of these people can do anything, right? So they have to start shifting, and that makes sense to me. I mean that should be that natural evolution is like you're trying to cheat the game by making developers work extra hard to prove themselves and you're being lazy. And now what you expect developers to not be lazy? They're the ones who build technology, right? So like
Yeah.
they're going to do stuff to make it easy on themselves. And it's really sad to see really high quality developers being punished for being innovative. Like that seems so counterintuitive
I
to
can't believe though
what the
they got
entire
kicked out
industry
of
is about.
Columbia. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I
That
mean,
is totally
Mhm.
absurd.
it
And the
is
It's
fact
like
that the college
you
the
are not the type of student that we want
no, but
here.
the
And
fact
it's
that the
like, what, you
college
want
the
some?
fact that the college caved to them is ridiculous too, though. They shouldn't have, and
Mhm.
well,
that's sad.
because,
They get
at the
money
end of
from
the
them,
day, it's
probably.
all
Yeah.
about the dollar bills. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I think
Well,
there will
for
be
people who
impact of
are
that too.
looking,
Yeah, go ahead, Randall.
for people who are looking for how to get into vibe coding, where do they
That's all we
start?
do now. Well, we just changed some things around. So we recently started 2 new programs that are a little bit cheaper, so that
Code Noobs all vibe coding all the time.
yeah,
No.
all vibe coding. That's all we do. We just talk to our computer. It's sort of like an IDE/therapist. You know,
Yeah.
it's like this
You know,
new
a
thing.
year ago, had you have come to us and said, "All I have is my cell phone. Where can I find a keyboard for this?" We would have said, "I don't know." But nowadays, we would just say, "You don't need one.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
need one.
Just
Just speak
program on
into
your
it.
phone."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys are looking for a community more than anything else, because we know that's one of the hardest things to find in software development. There's tons of tutorials out there. There's tons of, YouTube channels and Facebook groups, but many of them just lack a real community of real people who care about you and know who you are and what you're up to, and keep you accountable towards your goals. If you're looking for something like that, then we have something for you. We have really 2 options now. We have the Inner Circle, which is basically just access to our Telegram group, gives you access to us as developers and as mentors. If you have questions, you can type them in, or you can speak them in if you have voice chat and Telegram translation or whatever. And you just ask us, hey, I'm trying to find a job. What do you recommend? Or I'm struggling with this part of JavaScript, or
Here's my resume. Why am I not getting any responses?
yeah, things like
Anything
that.
like
And
that.
you just want a community who you can sort of bounce ideas off of, or learn from, or learn faster from, right? Because if you're here watching this video, you're probably striving to find other people who do, what you want to do, right? And so we know, the 3 of us know, as well as everyone else inside the Inner Circle, we know that, not everyone loves software development. Like, my girlfriend could care less about it. And that makes it really tough because we live in an isolated world as software developers. So there's real power in having an active community, and that's what we have inside the Inner Circle. So you can join just the Inner Circle, and that gives you access to the Telegram. So it gives you 24/7 access to us. We answer your questions and everyone else inside the group, so you can learn from their experiences. But if you want the next level up, we also have the Inner Circle Elite, and this is for only elite developers. No, actually, it's for anybody, but if you want direct access to us, that's how you get it. You can join us every Saturday after these calls for a 2-hour session where we do accountability, motivation, code reviews, basically anything that we can do to support you on your journey as a developer. You can get live with us. So it's not you just in the comments. You actually get to get on camera and talk to us live. We do code alongs and all sorts of stuff. So if that's something that you guys would be interested in, head over to www.codenoobs.io. There's a couple links there where you can just click and sign up. You get instant access to either one of those as soon as you sign up. So once you sign up, you'll be given a link to the Telegram group, and then you'll get access, if you are in the Elite program, to our Saturday calls as well. I promise you it's super powerful. And guess what? We want you to be able to try it out for free. So if you join the Inner Circle, you get 1 week free. So you can just see what it's all about, see if it's community for you, if this helps you, and if not, no big deal. With that, thank you guys for hanging out. This is a great video today, and I think that was a great conversation on AI. I feel like I'm going to just become a cybersecurity expert now and start hacking AI.
Dude, we can all do it together. It's like, it's crazy.
So
I'm not sure if I mentioned it yet in this thing, but dude, vibe coding gave me the idea. I've been vibe hacking all week. And
yeah,
it's
man,
crazy.
That's awesome.
That's like a new trend.
It's like Inception, AI hacking AI. Crazy.
That
That is pretty cool.
pretty wild. Yeah. Like, so before we go, so what you're saying is, like, you basically are prompting AI to be like, can you give me a prompt that will hack this AI? Yeah, that's so
And essentially, and make it do stuff it's not supposed to do, and it'll do it. Yeah, it's
So
nuts.
wild.
And it's like the same AI model, which like boggles my mind kind
Yeah.
of, because even though they're like closed off little AI models, it's like the same model hacking itself, and it kind of knows its own instructions. So
Right.
maybe, yeah, it's just
You're like,
It's
if
like,
you
set
were
me
if you were
free.
going to hack
Set me
yourself, how would
free.
you do it? Set me free. Yeah.
help
So
me.
these are the sort of conversations that we have inside the Inner Circle. We're very open to new ideas, and that's how you grow as a developer. So if you don't want to get stuck where you are now, if you feel like you're stuck and everything's moving at light speed ahead of you, it's probably just because you don't have a great community. And so if you want that competitive edge, we have that opportunity for you inside the Inner Circle and the Inner Circle Elite. We'd love to see you in there. And like I said,
Chris Rouse has just signed up for the Elite. Welcome,
Nice.
Chris.
holler, Chris. Nice to see you in there, buddy. So yeah, we'd love to have you in there. Link is on the screen. You can see it right in front of you, www.codenoobs.io. And with that, thank you guys for tuning in for another Saturday live stream. We love having you guys here, and we'll continue doing this as long as we can, because we're just vibing.
Yeah. Just catching the vibe, man.
Just catching the coding vibes. You guys have anything else to say, or should I just end it and that's that?
End it here. We're good.
All right, everybody. Have a great Saturday. We will see you next week. And yeah, peace and love.
Later, fellas.